Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 96 of Confessions of a Market Maker. I'm your co-host, Ray, aka All Day Ray, aka Ray Diamonds, and I'm joined here by my illustrious co-host, former market maker, 20 years and current day retail trader, the House Street legend and prodigal son of Regina. He's always had dreams to ball, and I'm not talking about the ones at Seton Hall. He taught you how to think like a villain. JJ,
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. And our guest today, he's making his second appearance on the podcast, CEO of Turnqey Labs, founder of 401 Financial, an actual graduate of Seton Hall,
Sir.
2004 Olympic trial qualifier in track and field. He was recognized by Investment News 40 under 40. He was named to Investopedia's top 100 financial advisors, the fastest man in finance, Tyrone Ross Jr. Tyrone, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming back.
I'm well, man. Thank you for having me. Good to link with you gentlemen again.
Absolutely, man. We want to get on somebody who could speak intelligently, help us unpack this FTX situation. But before we dive into that, man, just wanted to get updated with you since the last time we had you on. For the listeners, it was episode 80. We had him in. I think that was in February, Tyrone. So almost a year.
Yeah.
How things been going for you, man, professionally and personally?
Man, a lot has changed in personally since February. But things are good. Last time I was on, I was the CEO of another company, and I resigned in March. And started two new companies, which you mentioned, 401 Financial, which is a registered investment advisor, which is a hybrid experience, flat fee model, if you will. It's kind of like a family office in your pocket, geared towards those that are younger and underserved by traditional markets. And then started another company called Turnqey Labs, which is, think of it like a plaid of crypto, if you will. Is an overused term, but basically an API suite that provides crypto asset analytics and data to wealth management platforms. But things are good, man. Also got a show with NASDAQ that just started called Q&A, Queue, which is like a new age Mad Money. Love Kramer, but it's time to get him up out of here. Yeah, man. Advisors ask questions. I answer the questions. They come on, see, headquarters there at NASDAQ, and we chop it up. But things are good. Well,
Yeah, I saw that, man. That's cool. So when did you start that with the show for the NASDAQ?
So we are in month 3. Started in October.
Right.
Month 2 of the episode's coming out. But yeah, in the month 3 now. So I'll be going back to film another set this month. So this is kind of like the trial run to see how people respond to it, and the response has been incredible. So it's pretty dope. It's a really, really awesome show. So if folks get a chance, check it out. There's a YouTube page. If you go on NASDAQ YouTube page, and then if you go to NASDAQ sites website, it's on there as well.
Yeah, awesome. So wait, so you're flying out like every so often? Because
Every month,
right?
Every month. Being that I live in San Diego, I was like, do y'all really need to start this during October, November, December? Can we wait until March, April, May? But it is what it is. So it hasn't been too bad so far, but I'll be going back in 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna stay through Christmas. Maybe. I'm over snow. So if it snows, I'm out. I don't care what happens. My feet will never touch snow again. So my goal is, I'll be there once a month.
Good thing they don't have that show in Canada, man. It's minus 31 back where I grew up. So
no. Winter is a choice. For everyone out there, winter is a choice.
I agree.
Nice, man. All right, man. We got to give a shout out to our sponsors of the podcast, Apex Trader and Top Step Funding. Any listener of this podcast that has the skills to pass an evaluation can become a prop trader fully funded by either Apex Trader or Top Step Funding. Our own Micro E Futures trading community has many members who are now fully funded. No need to trade your own capital. Keep 90% of your profits. To learn more, you can visit our website at microefutures.com. So, Tyrone, what were your first thoughts and reactions when you heard about this FTX blow up?
Well, I'm going to be fully transparent and tell a story. This Sunday before everything melted down a couple of weeks ago, we had assets at FTX. Our treasury, RAA treasury assets were at FTX.
Mm-hmm.
We moved them on chain. And it was a decision that we made because the CZ had put out that tweet. And it tipped us off. And we were like, what are the chances of FTX going to zero? Like, right? And I'm like walking back from the grocery store. My CIO texts me. He's like, you see the tweet? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what do you think we should do? I was like, move it. Like, move it on.
Nice.
Right? And we followed up the conversation by saying, there's less than a 1% chance FTX dies. And then Monday happens, right? So yeah, we moved it right away. And again, was it $1 million? No, but it was a significant amount of capital for our treasury, which we run our business on. So that's the first thing. So the first response when it started to get to where it was, oh my God, right? That could have been us. And then the second thing was an incredible amount of anger, because what he did was just incredibly orchestrated. And there were people that I know personally that were affected, and he was anointed like GMA this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cryptocurrency leader. Who anointed him the leader? Right?
Yeah, exactly. A leader in blowing up your account.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a little bit of anger. Then there was disappointment, because I felt like as a space, when you really come down, it was like, well, we anointed this clown. Because if you're being frank, you couldn't find anybody that would think he was the second coming of Jesus. Just a very out of shape one with a bad haircut. Right? So it was kind of like he had the thing, MIT, Jane Street. He was raised in a bunch of yeah. So it was kind of like the pattern matching, right? He fit what everyone thought was the thing. Yeah. And then it moved to, what role did I play in letting the true narrative of this being about the people, this being about inclusion and access, get away? Did I scream loud enough? Did I pound the table hard enough? And then I think the last part of it was back to anger, because as someone that has raised capital as a Black man, which is very hard to do, and they asked me everything short of naming my first kids after their VC firm to raise $7 million for my last company. And here he is taking $330 million out of a $420 million raise for himself. I started to become very frustrated at the VCs and all his enablers that allowed it. But the main one, again, when you start to see family and friends and all the people that have been hurt by it, it leaves you in a constant, perpetual state of anger.
Yeah.
The amount of money is just staggering, that there was absolutely no risk control at all.
Zero. And the fact that he was a deal book yesterday and just like laughed and smiled through it. And then I never intentionally commingled funds. You're lying.
Exactly. Like, seriously, like, the smart guy should have been in Outer Mongolia hiding right now. I don't know what he's doing.
What are you doing?
Like,
and it's just blatant privilege and elitism.
Oh, it is.
It's the most gross display of privilege.
Right. Now,
within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Was arrested. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why he's walking around, right? Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all. And yeah, there's a lot we can unpack here, but yeah, those are my initial thoughts. But I think, and I realize, and I do want to say this to everyone out there, we were in a very privileged and elite place to be able to see that information and be able to act on it. A lot of people weren't. Even if they had the knowledge that we had, they didn't act on it. Right? Yeah. We did. And I think a lot of that has to do with managing risk and knowing risk controls as a registered advisor, right?
Yeah.
No, it's better to be safe than sorry. You could always
exactly.
Back. And you know what's funny? Here's what's even crazier about our story. We only had Bitcoin there. Turned out they never held any Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah, they never held any Bitcoin. right? And it's crazy to think that. So anyway, needless to say, there's so many layers of we made the right decision, but there were a lot of people who just couldn't make that move, and we did. And there are a lot of people that should understand we had the ability to move on chain. We knew how to do that technically.
Yeah.
We were at the shelling point, right, of where the information was coming out. We knew what the hell FTT was, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, you knew what all of this meant, and everybody was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Selling FTT. But you had to have known everything before that for it to make some sense to you. But if you
exactly.
If you had an FTX account and you're like, oh, CZ selling FTT, like,
big
let me
deal.
make more trades. You know
but FTT is the house of cards that's holding everything up, right?
Yep, exactly.
It's just back. It's like in the 90s where you could use 5 million shares of a penny stock as margin. Yep. So, you could use margin in that. Up in Canada, we would give people margin on that. And so the promoters would just high close the stocks all the time and just keep, artificial supply. They'd shut off the supply, keep the stock up so they could, excess margin, right? Yep. So it's just a shell game, right?
Yep. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think this is important for everyone to know out there. This is not a crypto thing. Right. He just used crypto as his grift, right?
Exactly.
But
right? That was the hook.
Yeah, that was the hook.
Yeah.
But he used old traditional methods, right?
Yeah.
Of doing what it was that he wanted to do, right? So I think everyone needs to understand that. It just so happens that he's hiding behind that, but this is a tale as old as time of what he did. He's a crook.
Exactly. Yeah. I just see that. I'm so happy to hear that you guys moved your assets. Yeah. That is like your spider sense was right on there, and that's a really good thing. And people who are listening, you should be with this man for your long-term financial situations. Seriously, because that is the kind of advisor you need. Not only an advisor that can make you money, right, but an advisor that can protect your ass. Excuse my language. Right? Because seriously, in this business, sometimes there's no such thing as a coincidence. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've seen brokerage firms go down left, right, and center, right? This is completely different because it's almost like counterparty risk, right? Yeah. So to be able to save your clients from counterparty risk, Tyrone, that's huge. Right? Yep. Right? For a safety of principal and capital viewpoint, for someone who's got a long-term investor, and I'm sure, you've got some high net worth individuals, but the regular people who are investing with you, they need somebody like that looking out for them. So that's really cool that
I appreciate that. And I can only imagine how folks like yourself that have been in finance and doing this for 30 years, looking at this going, are you kidding me? Like, your minds must be completely blown by this. And you said that I think is really important. Counterparty risk.
Yeah.
For all of the decentralization, open finance, you don't, like, you're finding out who all the counterparties were now.
Yeah.
You still don't know who all the counterparties were.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, I would always tell people, if somebody's offering you 8% when rates are pinned at 0, who are they getting that 8% from?
Where's it coming from?
Right. And that's one part of it. And what I'm hearing now from folks that are different, larger exchanges or whatever else, all of the counterparties now are like, we don't trust anybody. We're not posting no margin with anybody. We're not loaning money. We're like, everyone is sitting on their hands. They're like, I can't trust you now because I don't know who you're dealing with besides me.
Exactly.
Right. So that counterparty risk, I think, is something that for all of the crypto hippiness and for all of us that love the space, what I think, if the space is to evolve, you're going to need people with 30 years, 40 years experience in traditional finance to go, hey, you idiots don't even know what counterparty risk is.
Yeah.
You might want to study this. There's a reason why markets work the way that they do.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Exactly.
To recreate it with technology is great, but use the technology to make it more efficient.
Exactly. And you guys have the capability.
Right. Exactly. But if trillions of dollars are traded every day globally, what makes you think you're going to sit in your mother's basement and make that better and be able to recreate it? Now, I love that we're seeing financial engineering in real time, but counterparty risk, prime brokerage, market, like all these things, you have to study these things to know how they work and then go, all right, maybe, automated market makers. That's cute. But guess what? There's slippage. There's all these other things in there. If you don't know these terms and you just think that it's old Wall Street vernacular, you're an idiot.
It's
and clearly he didn't. But
I
don't
mean,
have enough time to go into
it's amazing. I'm so cool to hear that somebody actually kept their client's head out of the lion's mouth. That's a big thing. And just because I've gone through, I've had clients who used to take down clearing firms for fun and sport. So, your clients are lucky that.
Man, you keep throwing it out like clearing firms. What is the old term when you're dealing with another firm? Who do you
clear?
Right?
Where do you clear? Yeah.
You've never heard, I'm tweeting this, but you've never heard that uttered in crypto. Who do you clear?
Right? Exactly.
Because they would go, what does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
You're not you don't even know what that means. You're not doing everything. And that's what happened here.
Yeah.
The biggest piece of this, what I want everyone to understand, and I've been saying this for a while, what they did was bundle everything. They were an exchange, they were a broker, they were a custodian, they were doing
everything.
How are you clearing, settling, making markets? Like you're doing all of this?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right. There's got to be some separation of church and state somewhere, right?
And that's so that is definitely tweetable. It's like one thing you never heard of crypto. Who do you clear through? Right?
Exactly.
Tweet that, get that out. But that's such a powerful thing, but you've never heard it. So I think you're kind of leading the conversation where it needs to go. But Ray, as you were saying, man, it was a lot of frustration and hurt, man. I'm just very frustrated because so many of us have been trying to do the right thing and trying to get crypto to the masses has been all uphill. It's not been easy. Right. And this dude torched it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Which is the unfortunate part. Not to bring it back to that risk part, but I for the listeners who are traders themselves, I mean, even though you said it like, oh, maybe 1% chance something happens. Well, guess what? It did happen in Black Swan. It happened, and you have to factor that into your risk parameters that, hey, something off the wall could happen here, and protecting yourself against that is of the utmost importance.
That 1% chance could be 99% of your capital.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there were a lot of hedge funds that found that out. And one in particular, and I'm a big fan of, Travis Kling and Ikigai. Like that 1% chance could be your fund. That could be your LPs getting smoked. That could be your clients, like all of that. Yeah. And even though and it's funny, like it was our treasury, it was our money that we were just managing for the firm. But I was like, this is the exact example for us to show the industry and our clients of our risk, right? And protocols and management and how we actually go through it. And we tweeted it. Like we're transparent about our treasury. Like our treasury public address is out for folks to see what we own and what we did. And you can see when we moved it and how. And I think our clients see that. Everyone sees it. And I think it shows good risk management awareness, right? It's like the ability to identify risk. This is a risk, right? Exactly. And then manage the risk, right? Yep. Manage away from it, right? Trimming positions, removing position altogether, hedging, right? Yeah. The other way, everyone in crypto's levered to hell, but have you hedged? Like, what's your downside? Yeah. So all these different things, like we thought about, and we try to keep in the forefront of our clients' minds. But yeah, Ray, you nailed it. There is that risk assessment and management and identification is so important.
Yeah, huge. We've had people on this podcast who were in business with Sam, people who I respect. And I know this has been talked about a little bit, but I want to hear it from you. Is like, I could never just get by the way he dressed, man, and not combing his hair, and right. And I don't want to be like, because like you said, everyone revered him. Everyone was like, oh, he had all the signs of this. How did he fool so many people and some intelligent people? As well. Like, what do you think?
Well, it's funny. I said the same thing. I mean, how do you trust somebody to walk into a meeting looking like that?
I mean, I'm seeing him at conferences. You know what I mean?
Conferences on the hill, looking sloppy as B. He's like, he bought shoes and didn't even untie the shoes like they give you when it's right out the box. He just took them right out the box and put them on, right? So you joke about that. And yeah, I mean, he's, his body is shaped like a bag of wet clothes, but it's crazy that it got to that point just from he didn't take time to even he didn't even care enough to present himself in a way that would exude confidence. That's how confident he was that he was able to pull this off because of the strings he was able to pull. To your question, I think he pulled it off a couple ways, and we're gonna have some real talk here. One, first is pattern matching, right? Which I wish would stop. Pattern matching meaning he fit the description.
Sure.
White, male, young, smart, right? Connected, his parents, everything. So he fit it. It's the first thing. Let's just call it what it is. I don't think the word sell is a bad word. He was an incredible salesman.
Yeah.
He's Gordon Belfort. He's, he's the Bertie Madoff. He's talking, but he didn't really, it wasn't New York, New Jersey slick. Shout out to all my New York, New Jersey people. We have a very nice way of talking people into things. Right? If not, we'll beat you up. But what he did it in a way where he knew, let me talk ESG. Let me talk giving away my, right? The effective altruism, right?
Yeah.
He was the consummate bull-esser, right? Like just what he was.
Definitely.
The last bucket of that was he knew, and he said this, he knew the importance of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get on every magazine, if I can get the brand everywhere, if I can get in front of Congress, if I can buy politicians, not only in the US and the Bahamas, right? Now I've done all the things that all of the powerful people in the world have done. They buy everything. They buy politicians, they lobby, they do, right? And that's what it was. Oh, he was in front of Congress. He's testified. Trust him. Oh, Sequoia's invested. As an investor, what due diligence am I going to do more than Sequoia?
Exactly.
Write a check, right? So it's that social capital that he spent and that brand awareness, because you would sit there and say, oh, Sequoia's in, I'm in. And that's what all those folks say now.
Exactly.
Did, right? Oh, no one did due diligence? Oh, no, Sequoia's in. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I think it was. And the one, I can't think of the gentleman's name now, but again, seasoned Wall Street veteran was like, I call BS. I told him to his face.
That was this guy from the CME. That was the president of the CME.
Yes. He's like, you're full of it.
Yeah.
Called, Elon. And I don't know. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Elon just essentially saw some version of himself. It was like,
yeah, exactly.
Elon's like, I can really build stuff, and I'm one of the smart people. Or there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So I think that's how he did it. But mainly because I think you're seeing it now. It's a level of elite privilege that is gross. That he could go on GMA, that he can still be interviewed, and he is not arrested. That is a slap in the face to every single person that has trusted him or whatever. And by the way, let's be very clear. Kevin O'Leary said he would back him again.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel comes out. Yeah. Peter, hold on, let me make sure my internet catches up here. Peter Thiel comes out and says, I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Now there's this continued hedge around him.
Exactly.
People who have power, right? The people who have power and money and a big megaphone keeps him in that perch. No, I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like a nasty coordinated effort.
Listen, if you and I had stolen a chocolate bar, they'd have thrown our ass in jail.
Oh.
Okay? Like, seriously.
I mean,
I met Bernie Madoff when I first started trading at a traders convention, right? And this guy is I feel, is the Bernie 2.0, right?
Yep.
Bernie was not a nice guy when you spoke to him, right? He was very rude, he had a huge ego. This guy just did the soft shoe, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody thought, he's harmless, right? Yeah, I'll give him $1 billion, right?
Yep. To your point, and you know what's funny? That's where I think he flipped the lens, because you would think someone to pull this off like this would be a big, gruff.
Yeah.
Right? And you'd be like, ain't no way this little kid going to.
Yeah. You know exactly.
I mean? Like you could pat him on the head. Hey, I gave you $400 million. Don't lose my money. But turned out that he was the exact opposite, which again, you can't, the pattern matching has to stop. Just because someone is X, and X don't know. You have to check people's character.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? Forget everything else.
Yeah.
And I say this, especially in finance, forget all of the, how do you feel about humanity? Tell me that, right? How do you feel about humanity? Here's the other thing. What have you endured? Because there are a lot of CEOs now, some that I consider friends and I know in the space. I'm very disappointed that they've literally hid under a desk during this whole thing. How are you not overly communicating to people what is going on with your company and it could possibly be liquidated, that you don't say anything?
Yeah. That is so common in the traditional brokerage industry.
Yep.
And it's, when when bad things happen, they would always kind of like wait and wait and wait until, they just couldn't hold it any longer. And then they'd tell you, right?
Yeah.
And that allows large clients to get out, that allows, and then they just hang it. Right.
Yep.
So, you see a lot of, collateral damage now. And there's not a lot of people going, ooh, we had exposure and, watch out kind of thing. Because they don't want to run on their service.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why I think it goes back to humanity. It's like, find out if do you love, who do you love more than you? Right? Yeah. There's a humanity angle here that I'm ardent about making sure is part of it. Because if you love people, if you really believe in humanity and doing right by people, I'm not going to torch my stakeholders. I'm not going to torch my employees. I'm definitely not going to torch my customers who trusted me. I'm not going to disappoint my mother and father, right? I think about that all the time. Like literally, if my mother or father saw me doing something, it's always in my head, right? Will my mother be proud of this tweet just in case she figures out Twitter, right? Which is why I don't argue or do anything like that on Twitter, because I don't want to disappoint them. But that's the love of humanity that was imbued in me because, again, I think there's a certain background and things that go into that. So when a lot of people that gravitate to finance, it's the love of money. It's not the love of people, of what I can do to affect people. And here's what's the most disappointing thing in all of this. The product is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's
a phenomenal product.
Yeah.
That maybe Fidelity or Schwab will pick off, right? When all the are left.
Yeah, exactly.
It had a phenomenal product that was easy to use. It was elegant, right? It would have brought in a lot of the next million users.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about it, right? So leaning on that and making sure that everyone has financial access and learning about trading and learning about how to invest and all these other things, like just the love of humanity. It's not what sells. It's not what VC backs. It's not what Sequoia is. They're full of crap. They don't care about people, right? They want to make their fun. And that's really what it's about.
Well, I mean, I completely. I grew up in this industry in the 90s, and I mean, I've seen things that would turn you blue. Like, I've seen brothers take each other down for like $10 million. And then people are like, oh, what's it like to deal with him? I'm like, he just took his brother for $10 million. What do you think he's going to do to you if he does that to family? Right. So I have seen stuff like that. I have just seen the worst in people. And when I entered the industry in the early 90s, it was right after that 80s greed decade. And, everyone is, if you want a friend in this business, get a dog. Right. That was the line, right, from Wall Street. Right. And so we always were wary of people. Like, we were always suspicious, right? And all of my guys were from New York, my initial clients, right? They were like Jersey, Long Island, right? Those kind of guys, so it was like a band of thieves and we stuck together, right? But everyone was always wary of everyone. And as soon as you let an opening, somebody would take you, right? And now everything's kind of changed and everyone's friendly and wants to save humanity and all of that stuff. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people are using that as cover.
Well, he was.
The grift. It's a good grift, right?
He was.
It is. And I want to say this before we move on. For those that are out there that are listening, and I know you guys have a broad set of users, and those that may be young and want to start a company or want to be in, a finance or whatever the case may be, do understand. I believe in capitalism. I think it's a great thing, right? I think it's something that we've been blessed to grow up in this country, and whatever it is that you want, you work your butt off for, you can have. But I need everyone to understand this. If you don't get anything I say from this podcast, understand this. If you come into this industry without morals and principles, capitalism will separate your soul from your ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Hard stop. Write it, put it on the fridge.
Definitely.
If you don't have morals and principles, capitalism will separate your soul from your ambition.
Yeah.
And you've seen it for 30 years. I've seen it
I've experienced it.
Yeah, the teenage years I've been, and you literally see it happen in real time. Yeah. People continue, they just take their soul and sell it and sell it and sell it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then the ambition or the reason you came into it with any, it's just gone because the focus now is right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I mean, like I had a partner of mine that, it took me for a lot of money. And the other thing is and he was like a brother, right? And then you look at the classic movies like Trading Places where the Duke brothers, they screw up Dan Aykroyd's life for $1 bet, right? Just as an experiment. The people who are in this industry with huge amounts of money, they will play with you, right? Oh, sure. Like you're just like, like you're a toy for like a cat toy, and they're just like flicking you around, right? And I've experienced that. So you have to, and I used to always say, man, I had a conscience, so it really made it hard for me to work in this business, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, for people who are starting out, don't lose that, man. Yep. It's going to be harder and it's going to take longer to make money, but at least you'll still have your soul.
Yeah. The hard dollar is the right dollar. 100%.
Yeah. It's a good topic. It's something I definitely been thinking about during this time, right? Is like to the discussion we were just having with like, how did he, I mean, money's flying all around, right? People get caught up in this.
Oh yeah.
And it's, like you were saying, Tyrone, it's tale as old as his time, man. I think about, one of the South Sea bubble. And I found this interesting because Isaac Newton, so like scientist, right? Renowned scientist, logical thinker. He got caught up into it. He lost his whole life savings in these type of things. And I think it goes back to like, man, like you were saying, like judging people on their character, right? Like removing all that stuff and like, who do I want to be in business with, right? Is this the type of person I want to associate myself with? Just on their principles, but like you're saying, like society, man, it's like, what do you make? What's your status?
Exactly. Yeah. What kind of car you drive?
Yep. Yeah. And it's unfortunately it's taking a whole generation of wealth down with it. And it's right. And I know it sounds cliche or whatever else, but yeah, we have to get back to humanity. What type of human being are you? Will you put others before yourself? Oh, we're doing our best to protect customer assets. Okay, well, how about this? You give up every single dollar you're worth, just give it to the folks and make them whole. And then any future earnings we get from you too, right? Oh, we're working hard to make sure customer funds. Oh, you're worth how much? Make sure they get you just still handing out the money, right? Like
exactly.
I'm going to give up every cent of my net worth and any future earnings till everyone is made whole. Mm-hmm. Right? Can I avoid jail? Maybe. You're still going to jail, but that's what should happen here. So when they say that, it's such nonsense because you're not really focused on the investors. You're not focused on protecting people because whatever dime you had, even if it meant truly going out of business, if you 250 million in cash, great. Take that cash, make sure, go get the list and make sure folks are made whole. That's the other thing here for folks listening. Read the TOS, if you will, which they try and treat terms of service. Anytime you sign and sign up for one of the things, read the terms of service, right? Because if you put assets on these platforms, guess what they're using your money to do, right? Learn hypothecation, rehypothecation. In the event of bankruptcy, guess where they're going to get the capital first? Yours. Right?
Yep.
Unsecured versus secured. This is a bigger financial education story. Folks really don't know what a bank is and what a bank does. They don't know what an exchange is and what an exchange does. I don't know what rehypothecation means. I don't read the terms of service. I just want to hurry up and get on this thing so I could trade the coin that some idiot put on Twitter. So I just want to link an account, or I listened to a podcast and they told me to open this and I get $20 free to be able to do. You didn't read the terms of service. Now look. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I was saying. I did a spaces with CNBC. Well, what can we do? Read the terms of service. Like, look, like really read that or have someone read it for you. And I know it's not the common thing. You can't expect people to do that, but that bothers me when people say that. Well, we could expect them to do certain things, but we can't expect them to read a document that could possibly keep them from being harmed here. Read the terms of service. Make sure that you do not believe anyone unless you do the research yourself. I don't care how rich, how small, how tall, how sharp, how handsome, how beautiful. Don't believe anything. Go look it up for yourself, because people have embedded interest. And I'm screaming so loud about this, okay, because they sponsor me. I'm an influencer. I do all this other stuff. I don't use the product, right? Like, there were so many cases of that now, right? Did we really think Tom Brady was trading on FTX? I mean, and whatever they paid him, Tom Brady went to the storyboard a pair of shoes, and that FTX money was gone, right? So I just think there's so many ways here that the average investor is led astray. And this is whether I refer to stocks as dinosaur bones, but whether it's dinosaur bones or crypto, no matter what you're invested in, learn about what you're putting your money in, understand the stock market, understand all markets, right? Like being able to read and see what goes on. And I think you'll start to be able to piece the puzzles together as a trader, as an investor on, I know such and such is doing this, but the best thing for me to do, I'm selling here. You know what I mean? Because I got to make rent. I got to do whatever. It's just, I can't ride it to 200. It got to 150. I'm up 75%. Meet me on the next ride, right?
Exactly.
And I don't think people have the temperament or the behavioral, instruction to be able to do that. But anyway, I digress.
It's true. I had an old Italian client who used to say, "Listen, kid, $1 million here, $1 million there, it adds up. Don't get greedy."
Yeah, it all adds up. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Crumbs of value.
Yeah, people want the home run. Tyrone, obviously, I think like some of the questions people are having like kind of like around regulation, or like what goes through the mind of regulators when they see this, right? I mean, he spoke with regulators, right? He was on the Hill, like you were saying. I believe on our first podcast, when we were talking, you spoke to some people around crypto regulation and stuff. What do you think's going through the minds of these people?
Hellfire will rain down. It's gonna get, I mean, you look at, as far as our space, FINRA immediately came out with a crypto asset communications thing for all broker dealers, right? And all FINRA registered advisors. My firm is registered here in California. The DFPI, which regulates the RAs here, sent something on, hey, are you affected by FTX or your clients? I will say this. What's funny is I think they said the SEC had done some type of background or look into his stuff. It was like, no, it's all good, all clear, right? It's funny to me. So there were a lot of folks he had in his pocket, right? Sure. Which is terrible. And Gensler doesn't come out of this looking good at all.
No kidding.
But here's what I will say to people. Even if there was regulation, wasn't Bernie Madoff, wasn't he like on the board of some whatever, like
he was the father of the NASDAQ.
Yes. Right? Like there could be regulations. There are going to be people who find a way around it.
Yeah.
Am I anti-regulation? No, of course there should be regulation around investor protections.
Oh, yeah. Right?
And I think that is important, which I will say is this. The SEC, which is why when I had said something to them, and I think that's what you're talking about, the Investment Advisory Committee board I was on, when I spoke to them, I said, here's what I think you all should do if you want to regulate crypto. Define investor for me, because the investors you protect are not the people that just got smoked by FTX.
Right.
The investors you protect are the Black Rocks, Blackstones, all those folks. That's what you deem to be investors. So if you really want to protect investors, broaden that term, define it for them. You have it. It's this first thing. Second thing is, let's just keep it real. Do the SEC really protect individuals? Let's be honest. Like, do they really do a good job of that? Right? I think the one thing that everyone is like, the FDIC insurance, right?
Yeah.
Like they do a good job because there's like actual, all right, 250,000, I had 100,000, I'll recoup.
Yeah.
But like the SEC ain't swooping down in the middle of anything. No.
No, no. Listen, I've been in front of the SEC. That's not a news flash. Both as a witness and having them come after me, and they are. I really don't know what they do all day there, and honestly, just some of the things I remember once giving evidence, and it found out they flew up to Vancouver from Washington to interview me. And once they started interviewing me as a witness to, a case they were working on, they realized that they were interviewing the wrong guy, right? Because a transaction happened. I'm like, I didn't even do that transaction. This guy did. That's not even my RR number. That's not even my registered rep number, right? And that's not even my writing on these account forms. And they were like, I was like, y'all didn't get the right guy, to even what are you doing,
Yeah. It needs to be reformed. It needs to get better. There are some good folks at the SEC. I love Hester.
Yeah.
I had conversations with Commissioner Crenshaw's office, but and again, it's like investor protections, but you approved BITO, a Bitcoin futures ETF.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you made a Bitcoin futures ETF available to retail?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But I'm also not of the camp that believes that a Bitcoin spot ETFs would have solved this. How?
Yeah.
There still would have been people who went to FTX and were buying directly or trading there that would have been effective. It wouldn't have stopped it. It just would have been people that chose an ETF and other people, whatever, or they would have bought an ETF on FTX.
Yeah. This is almost as bad as that. This is almost as bad as that lady who took like 15 billion. She said she was creating some coin, and now she's disappeared off the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nutty.
It's
Crazy.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. So you're thinking regulators, fire and brimstone. That was the
hellfire will rain down, man. I think they're gonna overdo it. Folks that have been quiet are not quiet anymore. The CFP board finally comes out with crypto guidelines for advisors. FINRA put their thing out. Like, everyone now's the time, right? And it's just going to be heavy-handed. And I think they're gonna look. I think the SEC and CFTC should get together, give unified guidance. What is a broker? What is an exchange? What is a custodian? Like, give them all, like, who's going to regulate them? What are securities? What are not? Right? Clarity on that. Right? From a tax standpoint, what is an NFT? How is it, right? Short-term, term, capital gain, property, whatever, all these different things. Like, all of this needs to happen, right? A separate realm for DeFi, like you can't have protocols register like a company registering a stock, right? Because as they upgrade the protocol, and everybody's supposed to go back to the SEC and re-register every time there's a protocol upgrade, right? And there needs to be some separate siloed guidance for that. But I think the best thing that could happen right now is the SEC, the CFTC has to get together, give unified guidance, and then start regulating, the exchanges and follow maybe what New York has done with the BIT license and stuff like that. But they're going to regulate stable coins. And by the way, there's still some dominoes to fall in this whole thing with crypto. Some big ones.
Well, maybe some of the big players in crypto need to get together and set up like a clearing, like a DTC, or have some sort of self-policing kind of checks and balances. I know that's against the whole, having somebody look at everything, but
there's that word again, clearing. Yes, but and it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just having a conversation with the CEO of a crypto company this morning, and I'm like, you and all of the other CEOs that are in this industry need to call each other, have a conversation, and say, if we really want to build trust with financial advisors in the wealth management space, where crypto is torched by reputation, by the way, it's over. It's over. You guys coming out of that with some unified ways. We came together and we came up with a white paper and 4 steps on custodian safety, right?
Cool.
Calls for financial advisors. That's the only way to get the trust back. But if everyone stays in their corner, every exchange stays in their corner, right? And I know Coinbase and a few other people started like some consortium and group or whatever. What the hell have y'all done?
Yeah.
Right? So, I know the proof of reserves things is is taking off now, but yeah, proof of reserves, proof of liability, proof of
exactly.
counterparties,
Yeah,
proof of everything,
exactly. Yeah,
right? Proof of, again, segregated accounts.
exactly. Ooh, what a concept.
Like,
It's like, seriously,
And I will tell you firsthand, from building in the space, how many conversations I had at crypto exchanges saying we need segregated accounts. Segregated accounts, yeah. Well, we can just have a house like household. No, I was like, no. Mr. and Mrs. Client 1 needs
Yeah.
their own Mr. and
Yeah.
Mrs. Client 2.
Exactly.
So, no.
Yeah.
We could just have a master account and you
Yeah.
just put it all together. And I'm like, how are you guys operate like this?
It's like an omnibus account for retail. No, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You need segregated accounts, but and checks and balances and all those things. So yeah, I think if we do that, we'll be better off, and I think we'll get that moving forward. I still remain bullish on the space. I'm still as big a crypto hippie as ever have I been. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated, and I think this needs to happen because all the naysayers were right. Right? Chuck E. Cheese tokens, tulip bulbs. It's all right. It all looks right.
Well, the thing is, it's still a young market, right?
Yep.
And it's maybe it's hitting its teenage years, and it's going to have some growing pains, right? It might get pulled over by the police a few times for having a little weed in the car. So you gotta you've gotta, well, it'll grow like every market grows, and eventually it'll mature.
Well, and all this that happened, right? Like this was like partly why crypto was founded, right? Like not putting the trust in one person's hands, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And so, I think at least people who are like smart, like knows like this is not a crypto problem, right? This was just a fraud problem. This goes against the whole tenets of why it was even started in the first place. Tyrone, what are some of the I'm just curious of some of the conversations, what your conversations have been with people, professionals, right? I'm sure it's been different than from clients and then maybe family and friends. What have the conversations been like?
I have a unique lens because I've been able to talk to venture because I'm raising capital now and able to talk to clients, able to talk to other CEOs, talk to reporters, I have a really intricate lens into some of the conversations, but I think the overall sentiment is I just think folks are stunned, right? Like this is happening, and still it's like, well, what's the next dead body to fall out of the closet, right? And there's fear. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that don't make it, whether their treasuries are stuck there, whether there's going to be forced M&A and consolidation in space. A lot of folks are worried. But I think the overall sentiment amongst those that have been through a bunch of these in crypto and see the longer term promise, folks are doubling down like myself. We're doubling down. We're still building. We're still having conversations. We're still going in. So I think it depends on who you talk to. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of questions from clients. I had one client that reached out and she was just like, I just really want to understand what's going on here, right? Like, I don't know any crypto, but what's going on, right? I sent an update to our investors for Turnqey just of what was going on. I'm about to record an update for, our clients on the RA side as they could kind of go out with our newsletter, but we've been very transparent about what we thought publicly. Mm-hmm. So I think it depends on who you talk to, but I will say this. It's just ice cold right now, right? I know, and listen, I love Bitcoin, and everyone knows I love Bitcoin. Am I a Bitcoin maxi? Yeah, kind of, but I think there's other projects that I see some promise in, and the Bitcoin folks trying to separate Bitcoin, not crypto. It's crypto. I get it internally in our own little world. Yes, there's a difference, and I say there's a difference too, but the broader humanity and everyday American is all crypto. They don't care to separate it. Regulators don't care to separate it. The heads of wealth management and institutions don't care to separate it. It's all crypto to them. So I think it's a matter of who you talk to, but it's ice cold right now, man. It is beyond crypto winter at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Because my first thoughts, Tyrone, was like, I was like, you know what? Like, and I got a different perspective, right? Like, I'm not managing people's money or anything, but like, I was like, you know what? Like, this is probably good, man. Wash away some of this bullshit so it can, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Tear prices down so we can like rebuild, and hopefully it's, it goes in the right way. And I think it is. I think the ball's just like way too far rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Bitcoin get right back to around 10,000. That'll wash out anything that's left.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll really see who's here for the tech. Right.
Yeah.
Like, just get this thing to 10 grand, wash out all of the rest of any type of leverage somewhere. Again, other, dead bodies in the closet. And then let's just start fresh and build it back from the beginning. But hey, Kathy Wood still says it's going to $1 million per coin. So I need whatever that woman, I love her, but whatever she on, I need it, because maybe it's the St. Petersburg sun. I've been down there. St. Petersburg is beautiful, but if Kathy's saying $1 million, she's much smarter than me. Kathy, I'm rolling. I appreciate you.
She's funny, man. Though the memes on Kathy Woods kill me, man. There's some funny ones out there.
They are.
Shout out to Kathy.
But kind of the same, but just with that really quickly again, when she was smoking it, she was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Let's go the other way. She's the worst. She's stupid. She's dumb. She's this. She's that. Like, come
People
on,
are fickle. People are so fickle.
Yeah, she's the first manager to not like blow up. Like, come on, stop it. You knew this was going to happen. It was going to go the other way.
Yeah.
And she went a little too far, but it's coming back. But I can only wonder if she wasn't a woman, what it would look like, and then if she wasn't so involved in crypto, what it would look like, right? If she was doing that in equities, would she be still getting memed as bad as some of these other managers out here? You could pull up that performance. It ain't looking good out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But those folks still tweet, with no bounds and beat their chest. It's like, you could pull up your funds. They're terrible. Like, so yeah,
especially in a game like this, man, you got to always be humble, man. You know what I mean? You always got to be humble. You're a second away from getting humiliated, man. It's especially in this.
They blow, they pump, they pound their chest, but they'll be quick to tell you, no one controls the markets. The markets do what they want to do. So why are you taking so much credit for something you didn't have control over?
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, my models show that. Okay, your models show, right?
Yeah,
I love
it, man. Like that social media.
That's why I love Howard Marks. That's why I encourage everyone here, read Howard Marks. Howard Marks is my favorite investor, very level-headed. He'll be the first to tell you, I don't know nothing. But that's what makes me so brilliant. I know I don't know nothing, and I take the proper risk controls and do what I need to do. But I love Howard Marks. Very pithy, writes wonderful letters. And I love the fact that he always keeps it very simple and just he'll tell you flat out, I don't know where any of this is going, but I can tell you what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's similar to that too, sorry. What they did to Hussman, right? Like, John Hussman, right? Is that his last name? John P. Hussman or whatever. Am I getting his last name wrong? But I think so. But he was getting crushed for years when everything was just going up and to the right. And then it started to, things started to go left. And then all of a sudden he was a darling, smartest thing ever, right? So anyway, it's just so many examples of it. But I think hopefully everyone out there realizes that the best thing you can do here is there's two words: personal finance. Personal. Do what's best for you, not for anybody else, right? And I think if you do that, you'll be able to stay in the game. You'll be able to cut your losses. You can let some winners run. You can try different asset classes, but you always do what's best for you, not what's, best for everyone else or what the herd is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. Like how the media, and I guess you can include social media, like you're the darling one day, then they tear you down the next. It's same
people to put you on the mantle to tear you down, bro.
It's
I saw that firsthand when I resigned. Oh, they put you up there, and then the minute they get a chance to smack you in the back of the head with a baseball bat, it's right down the middle, 450 feet. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good. It comes with the territory.
Yeah. Speaking of the media, and this will be the last thing, and then we'll get you going here. Have you I know a lot of people have like issues with how the media has been covering this, and I guess mainstream media, we'll call it's been covering this FTX story. Well, what have you thought about the media's aspect?
I think it's gross. It's disgusting. It's embarrassing. It's a slap in the face of the people that he stole from. It's coordinated. It's connected. It's purposeful. It's intentional. And I will say this right now, I would not be stunned if he does not go to jail, and I will not be stunned if he raised money for another company. Will not.
Yeah.
Will not be stunned. No
Truth.
stunned. Because you can see it right now, the way he's being treated. Like, good morning, America?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Come
exactly.
on. Like,
right.
I'm embarrassed by it. And I just, it's infuriating, man. It's
shameless. It's shameless.
Yep. It's just for clicks. And, I have nothing. My mother say nothing nice to say, shut up. So I have nothing nice.
Well, I think we covered most of it, that stuff there. Maybe onto a more positive note. I always, I asked you some like miscellaneous questions last time. I only got one for you this time, Tyrone. Because I've been hitting the track a lot recently, man. Well, maybe not as recently, but this year, man, I've been really trying to. I enjoy sprinting, man. You know what I mean? So I figured I'd ask yourself, man, what workout do you do when you go to the track? You still go frequently?
I still go to the track frequently, not as much as I would want to because real life is taking over. So it depends. But what I try to do now to make sure that I do is a staple for me. So it's funny. I always have people come and work out with me. And if you really work out with a real like high level track athlete, most people can't get through our warm up, right? To even get to the workout.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual workout consists of 4x50, right? 4x50 meters, 4x100 meters. And then if I'm really in shape, I'll go and do 4x200. But most times, because I'm in a time crunch, I'll just do 1x200 meters, right? So if you do that, was that 200, 4, 6, right? And then it's like 800 meters worth of work, right? And hard work. So if you look at anyone, like you go to your local high school track and try and run around that twice as fast as you can, you won't make it. But if you think about that, that's what that workout is the equivalent of. And then when you go to rise in the morning the next day, it will feel like there's a whole entire body weight, like someone laying on top of you. And it's a really good workout because it works all of your different energy systems. So I think that's a good staple for folks to do. If you can't get to a track, you can do it on a football field or somewhere with grass. Tax the lungs. You get a really good aerobic and anaerobic workout in it, and you feel good. You feel refreshed. It doesn't beat you down like some workouts do, but you can leave feeling really good again until the next morning.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. I love the nature of sprinting, right? It just like quick, then all right, rest, quick rest. That's always appealed more to me than just like long distance. Never a fan, and I think it's better for the body too. And I think the science.
Yep, much better for the body. It's much better for the body. Primal, right? It's just that start, stop as fast as you can go. And again, the science shows the effects on the body is phenomenal. So, and again, the old, not even an old adage, but if you look at 100-meter Olympic sprinter, the best marathoners in the world, right? That difference in body type, it depends on how you want to look. You may want to look like a marathoner, but the ability to run 4.5-minute miles for 26 miles is one of the most underrated athletic achievements ever. But also the ability to run 100 meters in 9.5 seconds, like Usain Bolt, is also, he's half robot. Yeah. Like, how do you do that? So, your body has to be built a certain way to do it. So that's good to hear you hitting the track, man. And when you said recent, when people say track and recent could be 2 years just because it sucks so bad. So it doesn't really matter what the time frame is. As long as you get there once a month, once a week, I tell everyone, like, just get there and just kind of walk, start by walking a lot. I walk a lot. I walk probably 20,000 to 25,000 steps a day on top of everything else that I'm doing. It's really, really good for you.
It is. I lost 44 pounds this year walking.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah. Walking is so good for you. So it encourages everyone to walk. And then what will happen is you'll start to get in shape from walking and you'll kind of realize your gait is picking up. That's when you jog. Then you start to jog for a bit and your jog will turn into an actual run. And then the run will turn into a sprint.
Yep. Yeah, and it felt so. I mean, I haven't gone in about 3 weeks, but I mean, I was going like 2-3 days a week, man. And man, you just feel so much better, man. And like, and to your point with the physique, man, like, you know, I've always been active in the gym and stuff, and that's what I always try to tell people, man. That look at the sprinters' bodies, man. Look at the NFL athletes' bodies, man. Anyone who does that start and stop
Yeah.
type of activity is just, you know, there's something to it, man. It makes
it don't hurt. It don't hurt with the ladies.
It don't hurt with the ladies. Absolutely. Absolutely. One that on that note, that's going to conclude today's episode of Confessions of a Market Maker. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, please rate and review it for us. If you'd like to join a professional and supportive community of traders, you can join us at microefutures.com. Tyrone, tell people where they can find you. Anything else you'd like them to know?
Yeah, absolutely. 401financial.co is our website. I'm on Twitter at TR401, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well. Tyrone V. Ross Jr. I'm on there. But yeah, I'm a Twitter junkie, so you can find me, at least for now. I don't know what's going on with Twitter, but I'm there for now. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find the website there, and I'm around. You'll find me.
Yep. Check out his show.
Q&A on NASDAQ as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. JJ, parting words.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure having you with us, Tyrone.
Of course.
Come back soon.
For having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. And also just to let you know, man, like the first time we had you on, man, I was talking about how I always I admire your speech ability, right? You're talking, and then when I was getting ready for the podcast, I took some notes down because I've been doing some speaking stuff. And just got to thank you, man. I took away some good stuff from that, man. So thanks, man.
No, of course. Happy holidays to everybody as well. Please make sure you think about those less fortunate, feed hungry children. Think about our homeless, the homeless veterans. We're blessed to be in the position that we're in. So just think of others this holiday season. Appreciate you both.
Absolutely. Thank you. So for Tyrone Ross, I'm Paulie Walnuts. He's the gorilla of House Street. You stop, so.